Hi everybody, I want to talk with you for just a couple of moments today about finding meaning in the mess. Now, there was a time in my life where I lost absolutely everything. And when I lost everything, it was devastating to me, not only to my finances, to my sense of self-worth, to my sense of purpose, but it was also devastating to the people that I love the most, my family. And I'll tell you, it was so bad in my situation that I actually went through a personal bankruptcy. I went through the loss of all of the friends that I had at that time, except for maybe just a couple. And really, I lost my public standing, my job. I lost my relationship. I went through a very painful divorce. I was left in a place of absolute and utter despair. And it was in that moment, in a place of despair, and I don't know, maybe you've been there, that I actually started to contemplate suicide. Now, if you know me, you know that I've always been a person who's like super positive. I've always been a person who's super buoyant, resilient, always happy-go-lucky. And yet the depression gripped my soul, the anxiety gripped my soul. I couldn't leave my house. I didn't want to talk to everybody or anybody. And so I ended up actually having a failed suicide attempt. And, you know, of course, in that moment, lying on the floor of my condo where I live, it was a moment of devastating shock that I had not only lost everything, but I had even wanted to end my own life. And so as I was laying on that floor, I started thinking about what is the reason that I have to live? What is the reason that I have to keep on going? And so today, I want to talk about finding meaning in the mess. Now, for me, I can tell you the reason that I somehow pushed through that pain, somehow pushed through that depression, somehow pushed through that sorrow, was I decided that I didn't want to do to my kids what had been done to me. Now, what had been done to me was a lot of abuse and a lot of abandonment. As a matter of fact, I never knew my dad. He walked out when I was really, really young, to the fact that I have no recollection of him. And I didn't want to give that gift, that awful curse, really, to my children. I wanted to have an opportunity to give them a vibrant and fulfilling life. And it was in that moment of discovering my purpose that I chose to live. Now, I don't know what you're going through here right now, but I'll tell you, when I went through that moment of madness, that moment of total despair, that moment of chaos, what I discovered in that moment was three things that kind of kept me alive. And this is the meaning in the mess that I want to share with you here today. Because I don't know what you're going through, but you might be going through a place of pain. You might be going through a place of hardship. You might be going through a place of really, really difficult trauma within your life. But I'll tell you what, there's three things that I learned, and here's the first. The first is this, that my dysfunction does not determine my destiny. I think that so many people go through life and they think that their dysfunction, whatever they've been through, is the thing that's actually going to determine their destiny. So, hey, if I was abused, then I'm going to be abusive. If I was abandoned, then I'm going to go abandon someone else. If I was raised in the home of an alcoholic, then I'll become that myself. Well, let me tell you, I experienced all of those things. And I am so happy to let you know that just because you experience dysfunction does not mean that you have to reproduce dysfunction. You can rise up. You can become somebody new. You can make a decision about what kind of person, what kind of man, what kind of woman that you want to be. You can make a decision that your dysfunction does not determine your destiny. The second thing that I learned in that moment was that my past does not determine my present. Now, this might sound crazy to you because I think a lot of the times people say, well, I'm not succeeding because of all this stuff that I did, or I'm not succeeding because of all of these mistakes that I made, or I'm not succeeding because of all this stuff that was done to me. And I'm not belittling any of the stuff that happened to you. I'm not belittling any of the stuff that you've experienced, but let me give you a word of encouragement. What you have been through is nothing compared to where you're going to. And let me say that again. Everything that you've gone through has prepared you for where you're going to. There is a destiny and a purpose for your life. Now, I know what the destiny and purpose for my life is. My destiny and purpose is really simple. It's to live, it's to love, it's to matter, it's to serve, it's to give, it's to lead. That's my personal purpose. What's yours? And I'll tell you what, if I'm so focused on the past and the pain of the past and the hard things that have happened and the difficult things that have happened and the dysfunction that has consumed my soul, I'll never be able to step into the fullness of my purpose. Your purpose awaits. Your purpose is lying right in front of you. And what you got to do, I think, is what I did in that moment on the floor of my condo in the home that I was living in. And that was dig deep enough to discover your purpose and understand that your past does not determine your present. You determine your present. There is no one who determines your present like you. The third thing I discovered in that moment is that my future is about my flourishing. So I'm going to say that again. My dysfunction does not determine my destiny. My past does not determine my present, but my future is about my flourishing. Now, maybe you've heard this concept of flourishing before. Maybe you haven't. Flourishing is this idea of not only feeling good, but performing good, right? You can feel good and still not perform good. You can also perform good, but not feel good. Feeling and performing come together in this beautiful concept called flourishing. Now, flourishing starts on the inside. What that means is you find a sense of purpose. You find a sense of belonging. You find a sense of connection. You find a sense of relationships. But then what happens is it evolves from an inside job to an outside job, where you begin to flourish in life. You begin to flourish in your relationships. You begin to flourish in your career. You begin to flourish in your business. When I think about finding meaning in the mess, I think about the fact that at that moment, when I had lost my sense of purpose and I had lost even my dignity, I forgot about the business potential that was in me. Now, I'm happy to say since then, I've built a multi-million-dollar coaching and speaking business that I've been able to reproduce again and again, year after year after year, for over a decade. But at that moment, I had completely forgotten about that. At that moment, I had completely forgotten about my destiny. I had completely forgotten about my potential. I had completely forgotten about the purpose that was in my life. And I think part of the reason is because my pain was so overwhelming that I stopped seeing my potential. I'll tell you what, my trauma was so overwhelming that I could no longer see the tribe of support and the people all around me who wanted to help me. I wasn't alone, but I thought I was. And so what I want to encourage you to think about is this: who is in your life right now who can support you? Who is in your life right now who can call you higher? If you're going to go higher, oftentimes what you have to do is trade the people that are around you for the people that you want to emulate within your life. You know, I think this is one of the hardest things about growth, is this idea that I can grow if I keep doing all the things that I've always done, hanging out with all the people that I've always hung around with. What I need to do if I want to grow is I need to get around people who are going to challenge me. In other words, I'm not just going to hang out with my safe buddies and the people who, rub my back and tell me that life is all good. What I've got to do is actually find a new group of people who are going to call me higher. They're going to inspire me higher. They're going to take me higher. And so in this moment in my life where I had no meaning and I was in a mess, what I started to think about is, who are the people in my life that I can pull on? And I'll tell you what, your future is about those people. Your future is about finding flourishing people who can call you higher, flourishing in their relationships, in their businesses, in their emotions, in their mental health, in their capacity. Not staying stuck, hanging out with the people that you always hang out with, but actually rising higher, thinking deeper, stepping into that destiny that you have. And so I'll tell you what, here's what I want to say as I conclude this. Don't try to flourish alone. Flourishing is never a solo project. If you want to find meaning in the mess, you got to move from where you are to where you want to be by getting the support that you need. And so, hey, go to failuretoflourishing.com. That's failuretoflourishing.com, and check out what we've got there. Some great resources that will help you not go all through the pain, the trouble, the difficulty by yourself, but actually help you step into a whole new reality. I hope this has been helpful for you. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.